Everyone, it's Jen, Not a Real Farm, Saturday morning, and here we are weeding and watering sort of the inside beds here. But you can see the greenhouse has started to fill in now. A little bit more color, a little bit more blooms. Even the roses are changing color. So the original roses that I showed you in some of the videos are now sort of trading out their color for these beautiful sort of fire and ice tea roses, which I really love. So it takes a while, guys. It seems like it grows slow, but as soon as that heat hits, everything starts to change. So if we swing around here to our onions, you can now see that there's a pronounced set of onion seeds. So it won't be long for some of you that have ordered the Red Walking green onions. We'll be able to send those seeds out to you soon. We've got a grapevine in here that is so prolific. I've got grapes all in here. Look at all of the grapes in here. It's amazing. So this year I'm thinking grape jelly, grape wine. Haven't decided yet. So down here we've got flowers, we've got jasmine. I did a little basket of rosemary and celery, the soup celery, so it doesn't really get very big. The rosemary is super healthy. And I love actually drying out the rosemary and using it in chicken. And then what we have is we've got our baskets now hanging up full of colors. So I did sort of a peach salmon color. And I usually add baskets to the greenhouse sort of later on. And this is why you see these now. I put them in the middle, one of them in the middle, just to keep it out of the way. And then we've got another grapevine on the other side that's starting to give grapes. So this is a second year grapevine. And it's already giving me little grapes already, so we'll see how that goes. We've got our gooseberry plant that has just sprawled right out since the heat hit. And then we've got our coffee plants, which I have to transplant into a bigger pot. But you can see, look at all these lovely light green new leaves now that the weather's changed. We have our friends in the greenhouse that help us with pest control. And this is sort of our new sitting spot. It's still under construction. Basically, we're going to be adding new chairs and everything in here, but this is my bird cage trellis. So we've hung another basket inside the bird cage trellis, which is kind of neat. And then we've hung another one on the side here. So you can see we've sort of been birthday celebrating for a few days. All right, let's keep moving. So these are our blackberries. So the floricanes, as you can see, have come up. Got a purplish tinge to them. And probably in a couple of weeks, you're going to start seeing these flowers. So these are our Primark blackberries. It was a slow spring. I actually thought a lot of my blackberries were dead, but no winter kill. So this is good. We've got a cherry tree that's growing in here. That's almost doubled in size since I planted it. And just take a look at how big the plants have gotten since the last sort of full video that I did. So we've got cauliflower, we've got tomatoes in the back. Big, beautiful, healthy plants. And I know that one of the things that actually really helped was having the automatic watering, because it gives that consistent, even watering when it's hot. There's a big difference in the plants. And the cauliflower is just enormous. You can see here, even the pepper plants have gotten higher. And we're starting to put on lots of peppers now. The roses are crazy. So let's just move this out of here. I'm going to have to trim them once again, but if I take a step back here, you can see just how much roses I have this year. It's almost too much. So I'm going to have to trim them out of the way a little bit, but beautiful up and away roses. So these have been in the greenhouse for 3 years. And each year I seem to get more blooms and more blooms. Check this out. Just amazing. All of this here is purple broccoli. So you're going to get On these ones, you'll just get one gigantic head of broccoli, and then when you cut that off, you'll have side shoots. But they're actually all dark purple, so I'm really curious to see how that's going to look. But big, beautiful, healthy plants. And like I said, the automatic watering is amazing. There is not an unhappy plant in sight. Of course, we've got more friends in the garden. We've had lots of pollinators in here. And they're sort of just going around pollinating the flowers that are open, which is kind of cool. Let's see if I can get any closer. He's just chilling on the broccoli. All right, moving right along, we've got our Nadapenos. So our Nadapenos were the fastest growing peppers that I've got. And you'll see what I mean. Let me just bend down here. Check this out. This Nadapeno is almost pretty much ready to pick. If I leave them on here, they're gonna turn red, and that's okay too. But once again, they don't have any heat. So they're great for stuffing or pickling. If you like a jalapeno but you don't like the heat, then the Nadapenos are pretty awesome. Take a look under here, all of the fruit. And fans have just kicked on, so we've really tried to automate the greenhouse as much as possible. And so far, it's working really well. Here's our eggplant. And remember, guys, I wasn't even going to grow eggplant because it's just so fussy. But now with the automatic waterers, boy, are they ever happy. More peppers, and I have a volunteer red kidney bean that's popped up in here. So for all of you that ordered the red or the blue kidney beans, they will self-seed readily if you leave them alone. So this was an accident. I pulled a pod off. The pod dropped in the ground, and here we go. And guys, we're getting tomatoes. Check it out. All right. Keep on moving. So once again, more red pimentos. You can tell I've done succession planting because the ones that we just passed are bigger than these ones. So these were planted a couple of weeks after, so they're a little bit smaller, but still, we've still got lots of buds that are happening for these. Won't be long for tomatoes. Check it out. All right. And it's just one tomato plant after the other, and everything is super happy. We've got tomatoes on this one too. And then we've got some things that I still have to plant. So we have more hascaps. I've planted rows of hascaps in the front of our house, so we're going to be adding to those. More eggplant. Still planting peppers. So these are my cayennes. So I've been planting the same cayennes for years, and these are extremely prolific. So we're going to be putting those in the ground today. And then I decided to do a mustard habanero pepper. So this is going to be the color of yellow mustard. It's going to be very hot, and it already has some blooms, so I'm really looking forward to those. Blackberries, eggplant. So we're probably going to get eggplant from this a little bit later in the summer because it's smaller, but that's okay. And then I've got, of course, more hascaps that we're going to be planting, more hot peppers. Get the blackberries are just coming out like crazy now. And more tomatoes. And right back around, you can see in my little garden beds here, we've got chicory, we've got Swiss chard, we've got cinnamon basil, we've got marigolds coming up. I do like marigolds because they They kind of help with the bugs a little bit, but I love the color of them too. And look, guys, I've got a chocolate cherry sunflower this morning. Awesome. And then here's my little bicycle that I decided to throw some flowers in. So the flowers are actually super neat. Give us some color here in the greenhouse, and we're just about to have another sunflower pop up. So it's going fairly well in the greenhouse. And now with the automatic waterers, I can tell you that it's actually cut my work in half. So it's absolutely worth it for sure. Okay, let's pop outside. I had did a little video earlier. You guys saw that we had actually put in, or I should say my husband, give him the credit for this, put in waterers for the big garden out here. Okay, so it's very hard sometimes to tell the difference between carrots and dill when they're first coming up. So all of these that you see here is dill. Dill will self-seed. Good for pickling season, but dill comes with a lot of seeds. So if you don't want it to self-seed, pull it out before it gets to just a little bit past the flower stage. We've got more peppers here. These are going to be a purple pepper. I've planted tomatoes along the end here so they can clasp. More peppers. All right. So with more watering comes more weeding. So I'll be doing that today. But we've got, basically here, we've got our garlic seeds coming up. So this is a great northern garlic. So all these little seeds will be replanted. And here's the great northern bulbs. Would you believe it if I just told you I just weeded this probably about a week ago, and I'm already back to weeding already? So these ones will be pulling up, and they'll be a full garlic bulb. Our broadleaf didn't really do anything. Even with being watered, I don't see any of the seeds coming up. So that one wasn't very successful for us. Once again, we've got mateki. So mateki is a very hot garlic. So we'll be replanting a lot of these little bulbs. And then we've got a couple mateki bulbs that came up because I've been pulling them out of the garden everywhere, because sometimes I'll plant garlic and forget where I put it. Tomatoes. So these are going to be cherries. It's beautiful out here today. Even with the heat, it's still beautiful. Okay, so here are my Tidy Cats buckets. So remember, guys, I was recycling these buckets rather than trying to pay $20 a bucket, in a Canadian Tire or a hardware store. They're working out beautifully. So you can see our zucchini got hit a little bit with frost, if you can believe that, only a week ago, but they're already recovering already. So our fruit is fine. So this was the yellow zucchini, and it'll get twice, probably 3 times as big. We've got another one back here. Look at these big, beautiful blooms. Isn't that awesome? And I put them out here this year because there's so many bees in amongst all the fruit that they're doing the job for me, so I don't have to worry about hand pollinating. Then we've got our spinach patch. Fresh, beautiful spinach for those of you that need the extra vitamins. Me, for sure, can eat this raw. I like eating raw spinach. We've got our onions. More peppers. And out here, I've planted my ghost eggplant. So basically, this is going to be the same wonderful tasting eggplant, except it's going to be white. So I can't wait to show you guys that. And then if you look really closely in amongst all my weeds, you can see I've got beans coming up. So we've got more green beans that have taken this whole bed. Remember the whole green bean video that I showed you guys where I just tossed the beans in that were out all winter? That's them. Look at this. The asparagus is gone to seed. It didn't take very long. Once the heat hits, the asparagus is done. All right, so here are the beautiful hascaps. So the Hascams, guys, just bush right out. This is what makes them a great hedge. And it won't be very long until we actually get fruit from them. If you take a look here, we've got fruit already growing in clusters along the branches, so that's good. I'm looking for bugs as I'm talking to you guys, so if I zone out, it's just because I'm looking for caterpillars. Caterpillars, now that the heat have kicked up, is going to be a pain. So you'll find things like this on your trees. For those of you that haven't had the opportunity to grow these trees, or any other trees for that matter, you'll come across things like this, where your leaf looks all busted up and twisted. Usually that's a sign of a caterpillar, and we don't want those in our garden. So what I'd like to do is I just take the whole leaf, so they wrap these leaves around them, so there's nothing in that one. But I just spotted a better one that I'm going to take you to just outside of the fencing here, way in the back. Do you see how curled up that leaf is? We're going to get to that one. And there's one beside it. You know what? Let's just do this now. So you're going to be looking for signs like this. So your leaves are going to be stuck together and they look weird and overlapped. And chances are, let's just take the whole leaf. It's not going to hurt the tree. Okay, so it's almost looks like it's glued. So if you just gently pull that open, you can see that we've got a cocoon in there, and that is going to be the caterpillar that you want to get rid of. See that? Pretty gross, huh? So this is the stuff you want to get rid of before you get an infestation. So we're going to get rid of it, we're going to step on it, and we're going to get to the other ones too. Caterpillars tend to go crazy when it gets hot outside. So I do a lot of manual bug picking rather than spraying in the summer. So let's get rid of this guy. These are our red raspberries here in this bed. Lots of dandelions, of course, being watered and with the heat. But you can see now that all these little cones, they almost look like little cones, are flowers. So the raspberries are very abundant this year. It's going to be a good year for berries. All right, moving on through. This is another bed of raspberries. Some of them are doing okay, some of them are so-so. These are all new canes. More garlic. And then what I've done is, to maximize space, I've actually taken the tomatoes and planted them on the outside. So a lot of you are going to say, well, these tomatoes are planted too close together. But what I like to do is I like to single stem these kinds of tomatoes so that we just get, you know, the nice clusters at the top of the tomato, and then leave it open to make sure it gets air so we don't create disease. Celery in the middle. More garlic. You're going to see all kinds of dirt piles and everything out here with me. All right, so in this bed here, we've got potatoes. So there's some evidence of the potatoes just beginning to come up, so that's great. And then we've got a black beauty eggplant. And then look at this potato bed. Amazing. Peppers in amongst garlic. We've got some milkweed in there just to help out the caterpillars, the monarch caterpillars, because milkweed is actually the only plant that a monarch butterfly caterpillar will eat. And here we have sunflowers that are coming up. So I did some more chocolate cherry sunflowers. And a lot of the times what I like to do is put up sort of a privacy barrier in case, you know, people are driving by and they stare and they take photos. I like to actually create a barrier. So when I'm out in the garden, it's just me talking to the plants. Cucumbers. We look down. Some of our peppers, which are called Flavor Burst, have recovered. Some of them not so much. So it's kind of a hit or miss for me with these seeds. We'll see how they turn out. And then over here, I've actually put a pole bean here. So the pole bean can take up this entire section. And we'll get some beans out of that. There's lots of stuff going on out here. So like I said, about a week ago, our plants took a hit from the frost, and you can tell some of these leaves are pretty dead, but they're recovering. We're getting new leaves in here. And today we have a flower. So we'll leave these and see how they do, but I'm thinking the butternut squash will be just fine. The potatoes in this bed are coming up. And then I planted and scattered a few little sunflowers. And if you can believe it, I actually threw corn in here to see if it would be okay. And I have a volunteer parsnip that came back. I didn't have the heart to pull it out, so I'm going to keep it and save the seed. So that's our outside garden for now, which isn't actually all full. But it sure does keep me busy. Go down here. All these trees that you see that are in these little buckets, these are Saskatoons. So the Saskatoons are still pushing out leaves. They haven't all sent out leaves yet, but you can tell they're actually starting to because the heat has changed, so they'll kick out. And really, guys, that's it for my outside garden on this side. That's it for us today, guys. The fans have kicked on and it is getting hot. If you have any questions, please pop them below. See you soon.